Today I am in Baltimore, and behind me you will see a prefab home sitting up on blocks. But what you might not realize is this home is being built to sit on the water. Yes, this is a floating home, and that means that I am at the Flohom headquarters. A few weeks back, I spent one night in two different floating homes, both located in Baltimore. This was my first time staying in floating homes, hopefully not the last, and they have a lot of similarities to the prefab homes you're used to seeing on this channel. However, the only way to get the full story was to talk to the guy who started the company, Brian. So, cut to Brian.
So we're at our Tidewater production facility. This is our suite model. It's our smallest model out of the four. Just think of it like a hotel suite. It's about 400 square feet of space. If you come over here, we can peek inside. So this is an open layout. So the living space, the sofa would be over here. Have a really nice kitchenette and workstation in the middle, bed in the back, and then enclosed bathroom. So what we found is we have our bigger units, which you'll see, and putting these smaller units in the same marina at a different price point really captures a wider demographic of people that are able to experience these. As we found, our bigger units come with a price because of the quality of our experience and our marketing, and so we wanted to create smaller units so that we can capture a wider demographic of people to enjoy what we're doing.
Where's this one headed to?
I actually don't know where this one's headed. So part of our process is we're building. So we have three bays here, and we just build, and then what we have is a partner program, and so when people want to buy the Flohoms is essentially we're already building what they can buy. So this could potentially be one that someone buys, owns, and puts back into our rental fleet, or we keep this one. So it's kind of we don't know yet.
Okay, makes sense. How many are you building per month, say, now or per year?
So we right now we're on quarterly build schedules, so we're building 3 at a time right now. And this is here in this facility. You know, our goal is to have multiple facilities and different destinations of where we're going to be creating these clusters. And so, you know, this is our first go at creating our market production facility, which we intend to have more of them. And so this space can do 3 at a time, and we're building them in quarters.
And how many different sizes do you have for homes?
So we have 4 models, 4 models, 3 sizes. So this is a suite. It's a 30 by 14 foot space. And then we have a 1 bedroom, which is a 38 by 14. And then our 2 big models, which you stayed on last night at Flohom 1 and what we're about to go see over there, those are our Celux models. So those are 53 by 16. So we have the benefit of having a waterfront production facility, which has a lot of advantages. We actually have a Flohom about to open over there. That's Flohom 9, and that's our 1 bedroom. That's a 38 by 14. And then we also have another houseboat over here. This one is not one that we built. We actually bought this. And so we're just doing some touch-up work and flipping that into getting that into our rental fleet as well.
Nice. So you mentioned you got one out front that's going to Virginia Beach. How does that work for shipping and getting it from here to there and then launching it into the water?
Yeah, so the transportation is very similar to a modular home. So the one, you know, if you're driving on the highway and you see this, you know, big house being, you know, trucked by a trailer, and that's essentially what we're doing. We're shipping the cabin to what we call launch marina. We don't make the hulls. We get our hulls manufactured by a partner, and so the hulls are shipped to that same marina, and then that's where we do the assembly. So we'll put the cabin on the hulls, build out the decks, railings, everything else, put the motors on, make it into a boat, and then we'll splash it.
And how long does that process take?
That process takes about 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yep. So I would say, so our build cycle is about 90 days of construction, and then the last 30 days is launch and then fit out, what we call ready to rent. So, you know, from the time we start the build to the time the first guest checks in, it's a 4-month process.
All right. And so you mentioned that this one out front that's going to Virginia Beach will be the first one out of market for Flohom. Where else are you open to going with? Is this something you'll do nationwide, or is it East Coast?
Yeah, I mean, we have a vision of being everywhere, nationwide, international. The one that's going to Virginia Beach is the first out of market. We already have 4 locations in northern Florida that we'll be expanding to later this year.
Nice.
You know, at this point, we're going to be going south as our production cycle gets later in the year. We want to continue to go south, and then later in the year, we'll start making our way back up here, New York, Boston, Philly. The options are endless. So, we're just trying to figure out what the best markets are for us. The benefit of here in Maryland is we have the Chesapeake Bay. So we have cities and towns with waterfront everywhere. And so there's no better place to start this business than here where we are now. But, there's tons of water all over the place. And so, we're looking for where's the next cluster of these that we can put in, not just in a single marina, but think of it as if you're in a city, there's different waterfronts, there's different marinas around a city. It's like we want to be putting, call it 2 to 4 in a single marina and then duplicating that in 3 to 4 other marinas around a geographical area.
Do you see a world where this is a solution for full-time living, or are you focused strictly on hospitality?
No, we're full-time living and more of like an actual resort. So we purchased a marina actually on the other side of this development that we're going to redevelop into a floating hotel and also a floating residential community. So one dock will be a fleet of floating hotel suites, and then the other dock will be a community of floating residential units. And so, we believe what we're doing is the next real estate asset class. It's on water structures. So right now we're focused on hospitality, but we're going to be focused on residential. We've actually already built commercial. So we've built a floating shower house for a marina in DC, and that's a whole nother side of the business. So floating shower houses, offices, special event centers. And so when you combine like a special event center with the Flohoms from a hospitality concept, well, now you're creating a resort. So now you can do corporate offsites, weddings, you name it. And, these things exist, but they're all on land. We're just taking that and putting it on the water.
That's awesome. That's super exciting.
One of the cool things from a design and production feature is that each Flohom has its own distinct design theme. And I tasked the team for this one is I wanted something dark. And so you can see on the outside we have, the dark exterior, which we have on some of our Flohoms, but the big change is the inside is that the inside is the same dark colors. So this is our Celux 1-bedroom model. This is the same model that you were on at Flohom 1. And king size bed, this is the master bedroom. They're just putting the floors in now, so just watch your step. And then we come into the big living space. So this area right here is the kitchen. We have a big kitchen island, 4-burner stovetop. We do that because one of our top experience from hospitality is private chef experiences. So we get culinary professionals to come here and whip up amazing culinary experience for our guests. And so they're able to do that here. Full kitchen, cabinets, and then this is the living area. This is the 1-bedroom, but we do have a really nice sleeper sofa that we'll put in here, so we are able to sleep up to 4 people. And again, you can see, windows throughout, and these things light up in the sun, and just the light just pulsates through these and just really creates awesome environment.
Do you know where this one's going yet?
I believe this one actually is probably going to go in Inner Harbor where you stayed.
Yeah.
So we're going to have another 1-bedroom there.
That's a nice spot.
Yeah. I think the dark, the design, just the model will fit perfectly in the Inner Harbor.
For sure.
Yeah, so we started the company in 2022, and Flohom 1, we opened in July 23, and so now we have 8 Flohoms open, and we're building up to Flohom 14. So we're growing to scale. And it's myself, Marcellus, who's here, and then our third business partner, Jerry. We're vertically integrated, so we're building them, designing them, operating them, marketing them, and so we control the whole stack of what we're doing, which is allowing us to go hyper speed.
Amazing. So in the marina that you guys purchased, that you're going to have Flohoms for full-time living, what is that going to look like from a price perspective? Is it going to be a monthly rent, or are you going to sell them? How's that going to work?
Yeah, we would sell them, and then typically how it works in most jurisdictions is since it is a boat, there's no property tax. But on the other end of that is that you're paying a monthly slip rent payment, so you're paying to use that slip, and that's a monthly payment. So while you're saving on the property tax, there is a rent. Even if you own the asset, you still have to pay the marina to keep it there. So it's not just like you can put something there and not have to pay. So there is that.
And I know it's down the road, and I'm not going to hold you to anything, but do you have any idea what something would sell for that's done in a marina?
Yeah, I mean, I can just tell you the models that we're building today are anywhere from 275 to 575.
Okay.
I would say from a residential standpoint, again, depending on the models and whatnot, but they'd probably be in the same range, maybe a little bit more if someone wanted, you know, like a 2-3 bedroom, 2-story unit.
Do you happen to know what like a comparable condo that's waterfront, comparable in size, would go for in this area?
I would say 30% more to 100% more.
Okay.
But you're getting less space. You might have a view of the water. And with Flohom, you're literally on the water and you have 360-degree views. So from a hospitality concept is, you know, we have a Four Seasons here. We have another, you know, 5-star, you know, hotel. And if, you know, I've had people that have stayed on Flohoms that have stayed in all of those, and every single time their feedback is this is the best experience they've ever had because of the space, the views, the privacy. But yeah, from a residential, I mean, you know, the suite or the 1-bedroom model that we have, I mean, you know, living on the water for, you know, $350, I mean, that doesn't exist.
It's pretty good, yeah. All right, that's it for me here at Flohom. Super interesting company, and I'm excited to see what they get up to in the next 5 or even 2 years. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the